fresh perspective. So what we're going to do is get into the fundamentals roughly or generally for this week.
Yeah, I
I
just
can
started
share it.
recording. So obviously, everyone, welcome. Forex League Live, a live trading session. This is Sunday, our Sunday edition. I'm just going to go in real quick, go into our analysis group right here. Obviously, we just posted all of our analysis for the week. Like always, you come in here, click on any of these links, and you can get a little preview into what we're looking for the week. Read the text down here. We go from the time frame for you guys to break things down and see what we're looking for the week ahead. So that's the work that you guys got to do. Come in here, review the analysis, and then as always, we hop on the session. Me and Nick, we go over all of our analysis for the week, look at some potential entries that are lining up for the signal room. I believe a signal had already been put out. So we'll see what's available to us for the week ahead. We got this fundamental group. This is for premium members, premium members only. So real quick, I am going to go over that. I'm just going to take off this waiting room so anybody can join. There we go. And yeah, so we just post, the main events, and then down here, let's just read through real quick expectations for the week ahead. This week, we'll have some interesting data which will determine the direction of the market, or at least the direction of the US dollar. We're going to monitor the news and the release of the data closely so we can enter the market if an opportunity is provided. We have the Fed's interest rate decision, which will be extremely important to the market. On Monday, we have the Canadian building permits, which is going to be pretty important for the Canadian dollar. We also have the Japanese gross domestic product being released at the beginning of the next week. The movements from this type of data related to the Japanese yen won't be that big, considering the fact that yen is not a demanded currency among investors. On Tuesday, we'll have UK retail sales, another important indicator. If you take a look into our fundamental course, you will find some detailed info about the retail sales and what exactly is important. We also have Euro gross domestic product, which is another important factor, which will determine if the euro will get even stronger. And Wednesday will probably be the most important day of all because the Fed interest rate will be released then. However, we don't expect any changes. But if we see an unexpected change in positive direction, that could bring the US dollar to new highs. We also have OPEC meeting, which will be important for oil prices and for the Canadian dollar. The rest of the week will be casual with regular data release. If we see something, we'll drop it. So I'm personally expecting the dollar to make a big comeback this week, but as always, Nick can get into DXY and how that's shaping up.
Absolutely. Just to add to this too, a couple other potential heavy hitters could be CHF unemployment, and also on Wednesday CPI for the US dollar. So, and then there's GDP for GDP. So gross domestic product on Friday for GBP. Just to make ourselves aware of the fundamentals, that there could be potential volatility. So we're kind of take that into consideration when looking at the charts from a technical standpoint. What could happen, all possible scenarios. If it's super negative news, or if it's positive news, or if it's stagnant news, then we always just rely on the technicals and do what we do best. And just analyze how we've been doing.
Yeah, do what we do best. Close our eyes and take trades.
Yeah. Pretty much. Buy, sell. All right, so let's get into DXY then. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm just going to share the Chrome. All right, you guys can all see my chart, right?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. All right, let me move this, get chat up. All right, cool. So we're going to jump right into DXY. Guys, last week we saw that this was a huge drop off in price action, huge depreciation in the dollar. We can see that this is just a giant, bearish channel, pretty steep. Let's just go ahead and see what the higher time frames are doing. Because usually when you see a giant move like this, it's a higher time frame move. So let's just go ahead, find sentiment, see if this bearish channel has kind of shaken up the trend. Are we still bullish on the overall time frame here? Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, we are reaching prior lows, so it is very likely that we'll see some sort of bounce from this area. We did break the ascending channel, but as far as zones go and higher lows go, we're still very much bullish. We need to get below this monthly to then be considering a full daily transition to the bears, from the bulls to the bears. is if we just look at this chart, all in all, it's just super, super bullish, right? Very much ascending, very much going up, you know, forming higher highs. And right now we're just forming a low. As you know, from what we can see on the technicals, right now we're just forming a low. And again, until we get below this monthly, you know, we're still very much bullish on sentiment. So let's go ahead and zoom in and kind of get a better idea of where price action could go this week. So like right now, market open, it gapped down. It could just keep dropping with momentum. There could be, just by how much volume is here and how steep this drop is, it's not unlikely for this to kind of push down one last time, you know, maybe to this monthly and then reverse. But, you know, so this is kind of the likely trade path right now. You know, nothing here to me says bullish momentum yet, you know, until we can identify some sort of transition. So that's what this orange trade path represents. You know, I want to go long when I see this happen. I want to see this break this bearish trend, this bearish channel here, this bearish 4-hour channel. I want to see this break, right? I want to get below this lower high. You know, I want to see a higher high on this time frame, and I want to see a higher low, confirm bullish setups, and then that would be a pretty confirmed 4-hour transition to the bulls. That to me would say, hey, the bulls are back at least until we get up to this 98.5 area, which was the bottom of this range over here. So until we get to this area, then we'll reanalyze, see how price action reacts at the 61.8 fib level. Because again, we fib this bearish leg, right? So, you know, high to low. So this the 61.8 lines up with this 98.5 area. So in order to get to that area, we need to see this transition, high or low, we're in, and then we'll reassess once price action gets here. And then we'll see if it's going to break through, continue with the bulls, or we'll get a rejection or a continuation of this, you know, 4-hour bearish trend, you know, which would show a rejection around the 61.8 or golden level. So that's basically what we're looking at for DXY. Very, very likely that momentum will push it lower. In order to change our mind on that, again, we do need to see this transition happen. Okay, so for right now, you know, we're trend traders. We're not predicting anything. I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to buy it right now. You know, I'm not going to buy USD, you know, because it's at a low. You know, we're going to wait until we see those confirmations. So this is what we're looking at. Again, this is all posted in Discord. Angela went over in the beginning. Definitely for your review, especially now because things are kind of tricky. So definitely get in there, kind of do your own analysis and compare it to ours and so on. So let's move on to AU. Again, let's just jump up time frames, get an overall idea of the trend on the daily time frame. So still bearish. You know, this is the prior lower high, right? This is the lower low. Right now we're testing that, you know, lower high. So we're going to see how it reacts at this monthly. This is a very key level, very, very key level. And, you know, again, how it reacts here is going to determine, you know, where we go next for us, like where are we going to be taking trades, what our sentiment's going to be. So let's go ahead and drop time frames. We're currently at, again, this monthly resistance level, key area. But we could just see, look at the volume from the bulls on this pair. It's just super bullish, super, super bullish, right? Hasn't really formed any good structure in the sense that it hasn't hit a golden level yet, 38, 38.2, 61.8, hasn't hit these levels yet. So we actually saw a pennant, which is a key continuation. And it's actually interesting to see at the end of such a large bullish push, like the MAs are holding it. It gives us almost a perfect pennant and it continues. So it just shows you how much volume there really is. This pair has, like, there's just so much momentum in this trend right now. It'd be silly to say, hey, we're just going to look for shorts, you know. So right now we're just looking for it to make, you know, maybe it's going to continue higher. Momentum may push it earlier in this week. Again, you know, we'll see. Right now my projection is to get up to this monthly area before we see a lot of orders step in and potentially see a reversal. So this monthly is around 0.70800. And that's, you know, it's very likely that this could happen. Momentum just pushes it up another 100 pips, and then maybe we'll see some rejection then. But until we see some sort of transition happen, we're going to remain bullish. What we need to see to start looking at bearish setups is, again, like a transition. We need the MA cross. We need to minor levels of support to break first. We need some lower highs in this area on this time frame. We need some lower lows over here as well. So right now we're bullish until we see that transition happen. But again, if we do see a transition in this area, it could simply be a larger time frame pullback. Again, to the 61.8 was a lot of influence. This would make a lot of sense. The price action pulled back before continuing, and it could fall back all the way again to the 61.8 to the 0.675 support level, which is very, very, very key. So this is pretty far away, over 200 pips. Again, this needs to show us a lot. It's got a lot to prove before we start taking shorts. So that's why this, you know, general trade path, this preferred trade path right here is more likely for sure. So again, this is AU. And there's going to be a lot of updates again as this plays out. We do see a little bit of rejection. If a reversal does present itself, you guys best believe we're dropping that in the Discord, so just be aware. Definitely, keep an eye on the analysis updates this week. So that's AU. AJ is looking pretty similar. Again, we're going to jump up time frames, see where we're at. So again, very, very bearish, huge bearish channel. Right now, we're kind of matching this prior lower high. So it's a key area that we're at right now. Also this monthly. If we just look to the left, how many times have we tested this level and then rejected? Once, twice, a bunch of times in here, a couple times in here as well. And then we start getting some lower highs and huge transition to the downside. So it's possible to see that here. Maybe we'll see how price action reacts. But if you guys just look at the sheer momentum, just straight price action analysis here, it's like practically straight up. There's nothing here that's saying, there's not even a single bearish candle from last week entirely. So like, there's nothing here that's suggesting the bears other than just a key resistance level. But we're not just going to take a trade because price actions reach a certain area. We want to see those confirmations. So right now, I'm going to drop time frames. I'm going to explain these two trade scenarios. All right, so we're here on the 4 hour. Bring this in a little bit. All right, so we're here on the 4 hour. And again, just super bullish, right? Absolutely. Oh, I want to bring this in a little bit. All right, that's better. So crazy bullish. So again, because nothing is saying, hey, the bears are here, we're seeing a transition. My original thought is just momentum's going to continue. It may breach this monthly, and we may get again another higher high here. Maybe we'll get a higher low, in which case that would be structure formation. But for right now, we're literally just going off of price action analysis and momentum, and it's looking like it's going to push into this area for now. For us to then consider bearish opportunities, we need to see that transition. I want to see a few of these levels break in here, these minor levels. I want to see a lower high. Maybe a double top would be really nice to see. Then we want to see some really big bearish candles. We want to see some engulfing. We want to see a ton of exhaustion from this level for us to then, gain confidence in a short.
Oh shit, Nick. I think we lost you.
You lost me?
Yeah, your connection went out.
All right, how about now? Am I good?
Yeah, you're back now.
All right, cool. All right, so again, for us to then consider, if we did see a transition, let's say it came back through these MAs, it formed a lower high or double top, and then started giving us a lot of bearish signals, like 2 bearish engulfings, a lot of exhaustion, evening star. If we were to take that short and target a fib level, this would be like a 400 pip retracement, which is absurd. Just because of the sheer volume of this bullish leg, this retracement is going to be huge, and it would be enough to catch a giant short position on, again, over 400 pips just to the 61.8 alone. If it did fully transition and come back into this overall bearish trend, we're looking to get to the 70 flat handle, which is right where our weekly support is. And again, that's like probably a 500 pip pullback, which is absurd. 600 pips, even more down to the 70 area, 638. So guys, if we do see a transition here, we're going to let you know because there's going to be a huge trade opportunity on it. But for right now, again, nothing yet is suggesting bearish movement or bearish volume coming into the market. It's very much just running on straight momentum right now. So it's crazy. But if we did see a break into this range here, and then a pullback, confirmed higher low with structure, and then plenty of bullish confirmations, we would target up towards this 80 handle, just to give you a range over 350 pips. So just a reminder, it may seem like a lot of pips, but AJ is one of the most moving. So this is, it's a little more than normal, but AJ does move a lot. It has these giant swings. So, 400 pips, we probably have 100 pip stop loss at the very least, something like that. So crazy. But we'll keep you guys updated again. Let's keep moving on to EU now. All right. Again, it's going to be pretty similar as far as overall sentiment goes in the higher time frames. We can see this steep bearish channel, right? We saw it broke once from news. This was Corona news, so it's not really that significant. But, now we are pulling back quite a bit. We actually did break these lower highs here, assuming this doesn't exist, right? Because it's news related. So just assume that's not there. This giant break here has erased this lower high. We're now testing near this area, which is where this lower high was. So it's already looking like a pretty clean transition. But let's drop to the 4 hour and see what's going on. Huge 4 hour move, again, almost straight up, directly related to the drop of USD. So, this is pushing up. Again, there's no real long opportunity here that would be safe and within our rules. So we want to wait for a pullback as always. Clearly this is a bullish trend, right? So either momentum is just going to keep pushing this damn thing higher towards our monthly, or we're going to get a chance for a re-entry on a pullback. So, hopefully we get some exhaustion this week. Hopefully price action kind of, calms down enough to the point where we can get in on a retracement or we'll form true structure. Because right now, again, you can't just enter on this. There's going to be a lot of high risk involved. I mean, you could be taking lower time frame setups, but again, we always want to be aware that this could pull back very quickly, and then continue the trend. So we always want to wait for those high probability trades. Again, our golden levels, 38.2, 61.8. So again, just to reiterate, this blue path is just if momentum continues, this is what's looking the most likely right now. Momentum just pushes it towards a more significant resistance level before we see a reversal. But also this is very much in play. So these two orange arrows simply just mark the potential scenario that we get a pullback to a retracement level and then a continuation. So in which case we'd be able to take entries in the 38.2, again in the 61.8. But yeah, I mean, this is just, like, look at this. It's just straight up. It's pretty nuts. But the likelihood of us getting towards this monthly is pretty high. So let's just check the daily again, see if that makes sense. Right? Huge momentum. It completely broke out of this channel. So this is significant closure in my book. Then we want to get that retracement and then target higher. All right, so that's EU. And then I'm going to cover EJ and gold for you guys. So let's just jump into EJ. So very similar to EU, we are seeing a daily transition pretty clearly. So, right, huge bearish channel, huge bearish channel. And then it finally broke the channel here and passed it by a lot, targeted our next zone. We're breaking these lower highs. So it broke this level right around our weekly, broke right through that, no problem. Broke this level, no problem. Now we're in a key level and a new range. So this could very well continue up to this monthly, right? This is that new range, this blue zone, this blue zone. All right, so, I mean, it could come down and hit a golden level, this 38.2, to test the weekly that it had broken, which was the, previous resistance level, which would now be support. Very key area this weekly. So that's likely as well. But let's drop to a 4-hour and see what is the most likely. So again, just going off price action analysis and momentum, it's practically straight up. So the momentum, the likelihood of this pushing another 200 pips is pretty high before coming back. So again, just based on momentum, this is what, we broke into this new range. I'm expecting it to kind of push a little higher before we get a pullback and true structure formation. But if it does reverse, again, we want to see it fall out pretty heavily, retrace a few hundred pips, 200 pips actually, hit this 38.2 and then start getting some more bullish setups, in which case we could target back into this range, potentially up to this monthly, and so on. So like 470 pips just on this alone, from the 38.2 to the negative 27. So there's potential for that huge move. So either way it goes, guys, there's going to be potential for some pretty big swings this week. And, we're going to keep you updated. But this was just nuts. Last week was absolutely crazy. So much volume, so much just literally one direction. If you even count just the bullish candles versus the bearish candles, there's like the ratio is just crazy. There's only like 3 for every 3 here. 1, 2, 3. This is a huge bullish variation. One little doji, another bullish, another doji, another bullish engulfing. It's just all bullish activity right now. And nothing is really saying, hey, the bears are stepping in. There's no bearish engulfings. There's practically any exhaustion. This is the first real sign of exhaustion we're seeing just after it broke this major zone here. So again, guys, there's just so much momentum sitting on this right now. We're going to have to wait and see. So let's move on to gold. This was an interesting one. Let's go to the daily for a second. Just to get the overall sentiment. Gold has been steadily bullish for a pretty long time. It's been breaking through some pretty hard levels like this monthly here. It finally broke it and then tested as support. Let's drop down time frames and see where we're at. So this is kind of the biggest level right now on this chart is this monthly, right? Right around 1675, huge area. So we can see it finally broke it over here. It was testing as a resistance a lot first, then finally broke and now tested as support once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So this is still bullish, very, very much bullish. If this had broken down into this area below 1675 by a good amount, then I would start potentially looking at bearish setups. But we're not there yet. We're actually seeing a lot of exhaustion after this fall. And right now, just because it is a safe haven commodity, gold is pretty much always going to appreciate. And because the overall time frame is still very much bullish, I'm expecting this transition to happen. I want to see it pop up break this lower time frame, bearish channel right here, break this resisting trend line, get above 1695, give us a confirmed higher low, and then target long. Actually, if this were to happen, this would be more or less an inverse head and shoulders. This would be a shoulder, neckline would be here roughly. This is the head, right? And this higher low would be the right shoulder, in which case it would kind of confirm this reversal, especially after we break 1720, which would be more or less the neckline here. And then again, we're just going to keep targeting that 1800 handle. Very, very likely that we're going to get to this area. But yeah, this is pretty much what we're looking at now. We're looking for this transition to happen. For us to consider, again, bearish setups, we need to get below this monthly. So that's what this orange arrow represents. And if we do see that transition to the downside, we'll be looking to target 1640 and potentially lower as it plays out. Okay, so this is, for now, still very much bullish. We're just waiting for those confirmations. I like what I'm seeing, though. Good exhaustion, a lot of indecision after such a huge push. So we'll see. We will definitely see. So quick recap for you guys. I covered DXY, AU, AJ, EU, EJ, and gold. So Angela's going to take over and go over some of the majors.
Cool. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
So for you people that joined halfway through, we're just going through all the pairs that we're looking at for this week, potential entries, all of our analysis that we have put into the chat. You should be in our Discord chat. All the analysis, again, is in here. I'm about to go over these pairs right now. Nick just went over all these pairs right here. So
you have to share.
I am sharing.
Really? Is it dual sharing now? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
It always lets me share with
Just on a different, probably on a different screen for you. Let's see. So let's start off with GU. Cool. So we're going to start off on monthly time frame, as always. So what I'm looking for on the monthly time frame is kind of just like a one look, looking for structure overall. And then I'm looking at these past few candles. What has been going on in these past few candles right here. So obviously I have a monthly resistance level right here that we're testing at the moment. Overall, we are bearish in the sense that red over blue moving averages broke below this level, made a lower high. And then the last two candles, large wick. That's why we started to anticipate this pullback. Down to the weekly time frame, obviously bearish in the sense that lower high here, lower low here, lower high here. Looking at these moving averages, red over blue, made this lower high, crossed. So really until this level here breaks, this is a bearish weekly trend. Right now we're starting to break some lower time frame structure, below here. So again, we're testing this level. We could potentially make a lower high very similar to this, or this could not be ready yet. We could get something like this, a flag to form and push higher. So that's something to note. Once we get down to the daily time frame, daily time frame actually just broke structure right here. So we just kind of broke bullish. So the daily time frame, we actually did break structure to go bullish. That is definitely important. We got to see how this first day's candle closes. Right here, if we form a doji and then fall back below, we can consider this to be respected. So it really all comes down to how this first, this first day plays out, Sunday, how today plays out. Because if we go down to the 1 hour, we're just very bullish in the sense that made this high, made this higher low. Now we're just riding these moving averages, making a new high. So obviously I'm not going over any potential entries on this. I'm not looking for anything at the moment. I don't see anything that clearly lines up with structure, anything like that. So we're just going to wait. We're going to wait for either closure here, confirmed break. I say confirmed break. We need this to happen. We need one candle. Following candle needs to close above. In this case, that would be this candle. That would confirm the break for us. And then the retest, go long into that higher zone up here. So that's GU. You can review that in the analysis. I'm personally anticipating DXY to come back up, from this 200-day. I see this as potentially forming some sort of higher low now. Now that we're at that level, U.S. economy is definitely about to open up a little bit more. A lot of good news coming out, unemployment rate, on Friday, everything like that. A lot of businesses are about to start opening up again, which obviously bodes well for the economy. So I can definitely see the U.S. dollar, increasing in value. That would be pretty crazy. If the U.S. dollar does come back, that's when I see this lower high being made and then pushing back, obviously, in the direction of USD. So we'll see when that happens. Going over to USD CHF. Let's start off on the monthly. So I've been looking at this kind of closely now on the monthly. This is what I see going on. This isn't that clear, all this shit going on. More recently, what I saw, and I've been going over this the past couple sessions, I saw a break below here. This level, red over blue, bearish. But then the last 6 months has just been these dojis all over the place and just bullish action. These wicks, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish here, bullish, bearish. Obviously this huge manipulated wick here when coronavirus was going on in March. So I could see this thing popping up, going along with USD. I could see this thing popping up, not just based on fundamentals, but technicals right now. Weekly time frame, we are bearish, definitely bearish, red over blue. You got to keep this into consideration. Just form this doji. Let's go down to the daily. According to technicals on this daily time frame, weekly, we're bearish. Daily time frame, we're bearish, in the sense that we just broke below. This was a new low. Then we were consolidating for a minute in this area, starting to form this like descending little triangle here. This was the low that needed to break. We broke below, retested, formed a bullish engulfing here, but a long wick. As I get down to the 4 hour to clear things up a little bit, on the 4 hour, structure seems pretty clear for me. Had this low, had this lower high, made this low, made this lower high, retested the low, made another lower high. Now we're just looking for that next lower high. We're looking for the next lower high. Obviously we had gotten one here. Boom. So this is lining up pretty well, because if this level breaks, we can go bullish. We can go to the upside, because this is 4 hour structure for me. This is a previous 4 hour lower high. And remember, structure, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. If this fails, makes a new high, then we're looking for our first higher low. And that's all it is. First higher low on this 4 hour. We'll look for a confirmed retest before long. But I do anticipate some sort of move on this, maybe this week. I don't know if USD is going to move this week or next week, whenever. So we're going to watch USD CHF a little bit more closely. We'll move that up. Let's head over to NZD USD. We'll start on the monthly. So the monthly time frame with NZD USD is very similar to these pullbacks. We got red over blue. We're below the 200-day still. We're still bearish in the sense that we just formed a lower low. Now we're pulling back. This could be similar to this. Pull back, dump, pull back, dump. Pull back here, dumps off. But we got to cycle down. The weekly, still bearish. Weekly time frame again. We're looking for something similar to this to happen. Similar to this, fine rejection, then we dump. As we went over last week, the pattern over the last couple months has been to show this bearish engulfing and then sort of surge to the upside. So that's what really just happened there. Down to the daily time frame, just in regards to with this higher time frame sentiment in mind. Maybe if I bring a little trend line in here, walk around with a little trend line right now. Boom. We're looking for, where is this next bearish confluence level. Down on the daily, I see this based on very minor, very minor. We have this rejection here that was formed, support here that was formed. I drag that across. That's sort of a level, right there, even above there. We have resistance here, all support right there. So we can actually just chalk this up as really just a little zone. We could just draw a little zone here. I will remove this, move this line. We can clear this up. And I will change this to red. So I'm really just looking to come into this confluence zone based on that trend line, based on resistance, and see if we can find what we need for this weekly trend to continue. See if the sellers come in and we can see that weekly trend continue. I'll look for 1 hour transitions, before entering. But this is just chilling right now, it's chilling on the daily. We're going to see how the next few days play out. The entry for this will become very clear, and then this thing, we'll be able to get in on this very comfortably. So we're going to wait, on this. That's NCD USD. And again, that sort of lines up with my whole USD, waiting for USD to kind of strengthen up and kick back in. This thing could go up and fuck around in here a lot, with NCD still being strong, but I am looking for USD to become more positive. Now let's go to UJ. The correlation on this isn't as true as some of these other pairs. UJ is pretty wild when it comes to technicals versus fundamentals. But I did notice on this monthly time frame, it did give us some reasons to technically to see why this pulled back. Monthly time frame, we had this doji form showing signs of reversal, had this weekly support level, had this monthly bullish engulfing. Then we started this hike upwards. We had covered this in previous sessions, quite a bit. We fell into this level, like resistance, doji, inverted hammer, all reversal candles, and then boom, obviously push to the upside. I am not looking to do anything on this yet in regards to buying. I'm still looking to sell, all the way down to pretty much this level right here. This is kind of make or break right now with UJ, is I'm looking to see how it tests this level. If we can hold above this level today, then I will look, to go long into this higher level. If we fall back below, then I am going to anticipate us to go lower. So those are my two scenarios on UJ. This is structure because lower low, lower high, made this, support level formed, lower high here, got the cross going, so very significant level. So that's how I'm looking at structure. Obviously, anything below this right now, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, is all very bullish. It's all very bullish. So that's UJ. And then last but not least, we got UCAD. UCAD, been watching, quite a bit over the last, 3 months, pretty much, past 2 months. We're all the way at these highs. We're anticipating falling back into some sort of buying zone. We're definitely falling back into the buying zone now. Let's look at the weekly. The weekly, I'm really only going to focus on right here. We broke bullish, pulled back. Right now, what are we looking for? We're looking to find support. We're looking to find our next higher low based on the breaks of these levels. So I'm really looking for price to come into this zone right here. Boom, find support right at this level, and then head higher. So that's what I'm waiting for, on UCAD. Obviously, every time frame below this is bearish. I'm now up on the weekly time frame. That's where I'm looking at structure. This is looking at as a nice support level. I could see this coming down into this area, another 60 pips or so. So yeah, that's all the analysis that we have for you guys this week. If you got any questions in the chat, feel free, to ask at this point. We can go over really anything you guys have. And yeah, we can do a little recap. Just went over USEF, GU, NU, UJ, UCAD. Nothing really getting ready for today. with the moves that have recently been made. Last week we had only 2 signals went out. We're being very patient. Obviously, a signal just went out today. But we're going to wait. We're going to wait. GJ. I can look at GJ if you want real quick. I'm personally not going to trade GJ at all, but I can look at GJ. This is a pair that I do break down. GJ, I do have my analysis still on here. GJ is very bearish. Broke this support level. Gold. I believe Nick went over gold.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, broke this support level right here. Made this low. Made this lower high right there. Now we just found some support here. I still am anticipating us to go lower. Let's go on the weekly. Weekly time frame looks like we're pushing to get back into this area. Looking to get back into this level. Gonna take this off. Remember, always clear up your charts, guys. Always keep things as clean as possible. So right now, I'm looking for GJ to go. We're very overextended. Below this time frame, everything is bullish. Everything is bullish right now below this time frame. That's why on the weekly, it's important to be here. What's our next move out of this? I am looking for price to come up into this area, find some resistance, 200-day trend line, find some resistance, and then head lower. So that is really what I'm looking for GJ to do. We'll wait and see what happens. I do anticipate this to happen, though. I do anticipate GJ to come higher before heading lower. And, that's my GJ analysis right now. Weekly or bearish on the weekly and the monthly, bullish on every lower time frame right now. We got to see. We got to wait. We got to wait for things to come into our confluence areas. I'm not going to make up shit right here and just say, like, oh, resistance or some bullshit.
Right.
Going to be patient. Wait for things to come into the zones that we put on the charts. And that's pretty much it. So, as always, this is recorded. A little bit shorter session today, but we'll be back at it on on Tuesday, 9 a.m. We'll think about doing a little. Here's the long XHF. It's a higher low at 9.6 zone. What Yusef?
Follower Yusef. What's in 0.96?
4 hour. If creates a higher low at 9.6 zone. I mean that comes down to how confident you are in this level right now. If you're looking at this daily hold here to be very important, then that could well be a potential area for you to enter on. Based on the 30-minute. I personally have no reason to enter at this zone unless we pop up, pop back down, and then we do resistance again. This is just very minor for me right now.
I was actually just going to say that if this had some more time to print more significant support or resistance and kind of consolidate for a little while and then show us something, that would kind of build strength in a long opportunity. But it is in a crazy area where it just went through this huge push and not that much time has passed really. So it would be aggressive in the next 2 days. If you just saw an engulfing and took a long off it, it would be kind of aggressive. Wouldn't be the highest probability trade, but it is back within this range. So, I mean, you kind of just got to see it and wait at this point. Also, is that a rising wedge on AU and AJ? It could be on AU. AJ, it doesn't look as promising. But more or less, I pointed out there was a pennant on AU. So right now, I would consider current price action just the continuation of that pennant. But for it to be a confirmed, rising wedge at the end of a bullish push, signaling a reversal, that's what you're kind of hinting at, I think, Revival. We would need to see a transition take place first anyway. So look for minor supports to break, followed by, the first signs of a lower high on either 30-minute, 1 hour, and then work your way up. Because again, so if you guys notice one thing, we're kind of playing on these higher time frames here because the push from last week has kind of, forced us to look at things from the bigger perspective, the higher time frames, because these are higher time frame moves now that we're experiencing. So, we really need to see a lot. The market has to prove a lot to us before we start seeing, potential bearish setups. All right.
Yes, sir. So obviously we appreciate all you guys sticking on. Next live session will be Tuesday. Everyone that is interested in signals, this is the deal going on right now. $199 lifetime, one-time fee. So if you guys want to get in our signal room, signals, fundamental updates, live sessions, trading plan, obviously signals right here. If you want to get in, just shoot me a message. After this, we'll be back at it. On Tuesday, I'll upload this recording in about 20 minutes or so. And yeah, best of luck this week with trading, everybody.
All right, thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Okay, later.